Done.
All right. Good?
Yep.
Okay. Hi, everybody. So sorry for the technical difficulties that we're having this afternoon. But anyway, welcome to Mobility Flow Live on this Wednesday afternoon. So what we're going to be focusing on today is we're going to be working towards the LSIT. Now, don't worry if you don't know what the LSIT is or you've never done it before. You'll find out soon enough. But it's a gymnastics-based strength movement that works the entire body. So it requires a lot of upper body strength, deep low abdominal strength and hip flexor and quad strength, but also a lot of hamstring mobility as well. So in today's class, we're going to talk about movements to build towards the LSIT. So the intention of today's class is not necessarily to complete the LSIT and to get it bang on, because it takes actually a long time to achieve the LSIT. Today is about the movement modalities that need to be in place in order to achieve the end result of an LSIT. So we're going to be doing some full body strengthening movements and getting really good at building the solid foundation that we need in order to work towards the LSIT. And then at the end, when we actually start practicing the LSIT, we're going to break it down into really small components. And there might be a component that you're stuck on, and that's the area that you want to stay with and work on repetitively, because once you get good at each component, they build on each other to work towards the LSIT. So it's not going to be an easy class. Lots of strength work, lots of hip flexor and quad strengthening, low abdominal strengthening, and really working to build some stability and strength through the shoulder blades. So that's what we're going to focus on today. So you're going to need 2 blocks for this, and we're just going to get going right away. So I'm going to have you guys just start in a seated position. We're just going to start with a little bit of a wrist mob or a wrist mobility exercise, because the LSIT is actually on your hands. So you're going to go ahead and prop yourself up into a seated position. I like to sit up on a block just because it feels easier to do so. Can you see my, we have to change the angle.
What do you want them to see?
Like remember I'm going to be on my back. So now the camera has changed.
Keep going.
Okay. All right. So we're going to start with a little wrist mobility piece. So you're going to go ahead and take your arms out in front of you with fists. And all I'm going to do back and forth is I'm just going to move one fist down as I pull the other fist back towards me. And I'm just going to go back and forth like that. Okay. And you'll notice that you might have a little bit of more mobility in one plane, meaning going down might feel a little bit easier than pulling back. And I just want you to go back and forth. And I want you to really, really focus on the downward portion. Okay, that's going to help to just stretch out the forearm muscles that we're going to be using a lot today. So you're just going to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, just to get those wrists a little bit warmed up. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Good. Really, really simple. This is probably going to be the easiest part of class. Good. Beautiful. All right, go ahead and prop up off of that. Okay. You're just going to go and head and take the front of your mat, and you're just going to roll it up just a little bit. So I'm just going to roll that mat up into kind of like a little cylinder. I'm going to roll it up until I have a smooth cylinder piece. And then I'm going to go ahead and take the heels of my hands, and I'm going to put those down on sort of the base of that cylinder. So the only thing that's going to be on the ground is the tips of my fingers. Okay. Now I want to really think about pushing the heels of my hands down into the floor, put my knees under my hips with my toes curled under, and I want to think about pushing the shoulder blades up to the ceiling. And then all I want you to think about doing is rocking your shoulders forward of your wrists. That's it. And then come on back. Push the heels of the hands down, rock forward. Good. And pull back. 3 more like that. Push the shoulder blades to the ceiling, rock forward. And back. 2 more. Push the shoulder blades to the ceiling, rock forward. And back. Last one. Push the shoulder blades to the ceiling, rock forward. And back. Easy. All right, go ahead and rock your back. Now you're gonna go right down onto your back. So you're gonna go ahead and take both of your blocks with you and go ahead and prop right down on your backs. Okay. So we're gonna talk about the hamstrings a little bit. Now, if your neck, again, feels like you've got a big arch in the neck, the throat is open, you're gonna go ahead and put a block behind the back of your head. Otherwise, you're gonna be flat on the floor with the head, feet flat on the floor, okay? Keep one block near you. The other block, you're gonna go ahead and grab the outer edges of the block with, again, the heels of your hands. And I'm gonna go ahead and hold that block up over my chest. Now, what I'm gonna do is squeeze the block with the heels of the hands, thinking that I'm trying to touch the elbows towards one another. And I'm gonna go ahead and take my right leg up to the ceiling. Okay, now one thing I want you to avoid is pulling the leg towards you so that it feels like your butt cheek is lifting up off the floor. I want you to have toes are pulling down towards your kneecap. And then I want to think that I'm trying to reach the inseam of my leg, so the inseam of your pant leg up towards the ceiling as I squeeze the block. Now I want to create some tension in my abdominals here. So I'm going to take the front of my rib cage and I'm going to push it down as I push my low belly, so my belly button down towards my low back. Then I'm going to flex that left heel, so I'm up on the heel, and I'm going to proceed to slide my left leg out as straight as I can without letting my right leg change. So what I mean by that is if I start to straighten my leg and my right leg pulls forward, I've gone too far with that left leg. So I'm going to stop without changing the right leg. I'm going to hold the tension in my abdominals, squeeze the block, then I'm going to slide that left heel back. Again, I'm going to slide that heel. The whole time I'm trying to maintain that hamstring mobility. Slide back. Keep the tension in your abdominals. So front rib cage dropping. Again, slide. And pull back in. 2 more there. Slide. Pull back in. You should be feeling a little tension in your abdominals. 1 more here. Slide. Pull back in. Okay, now go ahead and get rid of that block that you have in your hand. Now I want you to point your toes. So that's going to hit the hamstring. Just relax your arms down by your sides and then maybe proceed to slide that left leg out as far as you can without letting your right leg change, and just let your hamstring get a nice little stretch. Okay. Now for some of you, your knee may not straighten. That's fine. Don't be afraid to have a little bend in the knee, but point the toes. The last thing I want you to do is pull that leg forward or arch your low back. So if you have to keep the left leg in towards you to maintain that, go ahead. Hold there for a moment. Good. And then put that back on the floor. All right, same thing other side. You're going to realize how important the hamstrings are when we do the L-sit in a little bit. All right, so same thing other side. I'm going to go ahead and grab my block, squeeze the heels of my hands. I'm going to take my left leg up to the ceiling. Your mobility might be different on each leg, completely normal. I'm going to flex the foot, pull the toes down to the kneecap, squeeze the block, create tension, push the front of my rib cage down, push my low belly down into the floor, flex the right foot so the heel's on the ground. And then keeping that tension in the abdominals, I'm going to slide the leg out without changing my left leg. And I'm going to slide, pull it back in. Again, slide out. Left leg does not change. Slide, pull it in. Tension in the abdominals is happening. 3 more. Slide. Back in. 2 more. Slide. Back in. 1 more. Slide. Keep the tension in the belly. Pull it back in. Now go ahead and get rid of that block that you had. Now I want you to think about pointing your toes, have your arms alongside of you, and then decide how far am I going to slide my right leg out without letting my left leg change. And if your knee bends, let that happen as you point the toes and hold. Take maybe a breath in through the nose and out through the nose. Good. Put that right heel back on the floor and then relax your legs. All right, this is right there. Now the other block is going to go in between my inner thighs. I'm going to take it vertically. Go ahead and put it in between those inner thighs. Give the block a good squeeze. Now the intention behind the movement we're going to do here is to try to feel our low abdominals, our hip crease muscles, as well as our thighs, because they play a huge role in the end position of an L-sit. So I'm going to go ahead and squeeze the block with my inner thighs. And then I'm going to lift my legs up to 90 degrees. So my knees are over my hip creases. My shin bones are parallel to the ceiling. Now, if you're relaxing your abdomen here, you might feel like your belly is kind of puffed out a little bit and your low back is, so I have tension. This is your priority. You want to keep this the entire time. Arms, I'm going to hold over my chest like I've got my trusty old block there. And I'm going to push that low back in towards the floor, trying to maintain that. Now, as I squeeze the block, very, very small movement, I'm going to take my thighs and send them about ½ an inch forward of my chest. So I started with my knees over my hips. All I did was move them forward. You're going to feel those low abs work. Push that low back into the floor. Give that block a good squeeze. Hold there. If your low back popped off the ground, come back to the starting position, reset that low back into the floor, and then try again. Now, maintaining that, all I'm going to do is send my legs a few inches forward again. Notice how I'm maintaining my shin bones parallel to the ceiling. That's imperative. Push that low back in towards the floor. Let's do one more here. Send those thigh bones a little forward. Now you should start to feel those low abs doing a lot of work to maintain this position. Keep that low back into the floor. Now, as you squeeze the block, pull your legs back to 90 degrees. Do not rest. Keep that low back into the floor. Again, thigh bones, ½ an inch forward of the chest. Keep the block squeezing. Your inner thighs are the key to finding your abdominals. That's why we have the block here. Again, send the thigh bones ½ an inch forward. Whew, you should be feeling this by now, especially deep in those low abs. One more here, send the thigh bones a little bit forward. Maybe you want to go a little bit more forward, but only if you can maintain that low back on the floor. Then as I squeeze, I'm going to pull back in 90 degrees. Whew, let's do one more here. Push that low back into the ground. Thigh bones, ½ an inch forward. Try to stay relaxed and soft through your face. I know that's hard to do, but squeeze the block. Again, thigh bones, ½ an inch forward. Awesome. Maybe one more. Thigh bones, ½ an inch forward. Whoo, keep that low back into the floor. Now using those low abdominals, pull back to 90 degrees, nice and slow, and then relax. Okay, we're going to do that one more time. Now, if you had a lot of trouble with that, or you didn't feel your abdominals, or your low back was popping off the floor, this is telling you that you've got to work a little bit harder to push that low back into the ground. Tense through the abdominals, squeeze the block more, and maybe don't send your legs out as far. Let's try that again. So same thing with the block. Sometimes it always takes me 1 or 2 tries to really understand the mechanics of the movement. So we're going to do this one more time. So arms out in front of me, squeeze the block. I'm going to push that low back in towards the floor. And then as I squeeze, I'm going to feel that contact with my low back and my mat. I'm going to feel my low belly starting to get hard as a rock. Then I'm going to send my thigh bones ½ an inch forward. I'm staying soft through my face, but tense through my belly. Again, thigh bones ½ an inch forward. Yeah. One more. Thigh bones ½ an inch forward. Now, don't use your low back to pull the legs in. Use the front of the abdominals to pull back in. Good. Again, thigh bones ½ an inch forward. ½ an inch forward. One more forward. Really push that low back in towards the floor. Pull it back in from the low belly. One more here. ½ an inch forward. Little bit forward. Maintain the shin bones parallel. One more ½ an inch forward. Push that belly into the floor. Good. And then use the low abdominals to pull in and then relax. Really good job. Now, if you felt like your low belly was blowing up, that's basically the feeling we're trying to chase when we move into our L set. Really good. All right. From there, oh boy. All right, so we're going to move on to some hollow body sit-ups. We're going to start in a little bit more of a modified version of a hollow body, and then we're going to intensify from there. I'm actually going to get rid of the block that's behind my head because we're going to be actually trying to lift the shoulder blades up off the floor. So first thing I'm going to do, kind of like we did before in my setup, I'm going to push that low back in towards the floor. Now what I want to think about is creating a sit-up with my upper body. So I'm going to take my arms forward, and I'm going to round my shoulder blades up like I'm doing a sit-up. Now I want you to really think about pushing that low back into the floor. If your shoulder blades aren't lifting enough, go ball. Chin remains slightly tucked, shoulder blades push up, push the low back in towards the floor. You're going to hold here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Set everything down. Okay? really scrunching through the front of the abdominals. Again, push that low back in towards the floor, round up like you're doing a sit-up, reach your fingertips to the bottom of the mat, use the low abdominals to pull in, maybe even squeeze your inner thighs together, really round those shoulder blades up using your low abdominals, pull in like a tiny ball, hold for 5, 4, 3. So again, I'm going to push my low back in towards the floor. I'm going to round up like I'm doing a sit-up, reach towards the bottom of my lat, pull my legs up. Now get really, really tense. Now, as I round those shoulder blades, I'm going to take those legs and straighten them out. Don't bring them too low. That's going to pop your low back. Keep them high. I'm going to really lift those shoulder blades, squeeze the legs, hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. Okay, now we're going to put this together. We're going to go back and forth. If you're doing this correctly with tension and really trying to maintain that hollow body position, holding it for 2 counts should be, or 5 counts should be enough. All right, so now we're going to go back and forth. We're going to pull the legs in and then extend them out. Pull them in, extend them out. We're going to go back and forth like a sit-up. All right, so I'm going to create that same position. Push that low back on the floor, round up like I'm doing a sit-up, reach towards the bottom of the mat, pull my legs in. We're going to do 5 of these. Keep the chin slightly tucked. If you're feeling your neck, you're not lifting your shoulder blades up. Use those low bellies. Here we go. Extend. Squeeze the legs together. Pull in for 1. Extend. Pull in for 2. Extend. Pull in for 3. Extend. Pull in for 4. Extend. Pull in for 5. Hold. Relax. Good. Now you should feel a lot happening through that low belly. We're going to do 1 more set. No rest here. Let's go again. Push that low back on the floor. Round the shoulder blades up. Reach towards the bottom of the mat. Pull the knees in. You can even grab the legs if you need to get yourself rounded up more. Here I go. Extend. Pull it in. Extend. Pull it in. Pull it in. Hold. Relax. That is a lot on the belly. Great job. All right, go ahead and come on up to a seated position. So these are your hollow body sit-ups. Not easy. All right, so now we're going to dive into the deep hip flexors, because that's what allows us to lift in that L-sit is those hip flexor muscles. So you're going to need both of your blocks for this. Okay, and I'm going to face forward for the start of this, and then I'm going to face sideways just to give you guys an idea of what I want you to do. So I'm going to keep my left foot on the floor, just kind of like my leg out to the side, kind of like I was just kind of hanging out. And I'm going to take my right leg out in front of me. Now what I want to do with my block is I want to take it to the lowest height, and I want to put that block kind of right in between the space between both of my legs. Okay, now my other block, I'm going to squeeze it the same way I did when I was on my back. So I'm going to press the heels of my hands together. I'm going to hug my elbows in. Now, what I want you to really think about doing here is creating a seated hollow body position. So just like we were hollow in those hollow body sit-ups, we want to create that same action here. So I'm going to hollow through my body. Now, notice how I didn't do that from my low back. I did that from my rib cage and from my shoulder blades. So I've got that hollow position. Now, you can do the toes flexed or pointed, doesn't really matter, but I want to maintain that hollow position as I squeeze my block. Now, all I'm going to do with my right leg is I'm going to lift it up as high as I can and swing it over the block until it taps on the opposing side. And then I'm going to lift up and swing over. Now, if you leaned back when you did that, okay, you're not using the abdominals. That might happen as you get stronger, that you might lean back in the beginning, but I want you to try to minimize that. Try to keep your torso from moving and just the leg. Okay, so we're going to do a couple of these. So I'm going to squeeze as I hollow, and I want to go up and over, tap, up and over, tap. Keep going. Think of where you're lifting from, the thigh and the hip crease. Tap, up and over, tap, up and over for 3, up and over for 3. Quad should start to be shaking a little bit. Up and over for 4, up and over position. Torso does not change for 6, up and over Good. Up and over for 7. Get that quad starting to tense up. Up and over for 8. Up and over for 8. Up and over 9. Whew, there goes the quad. Up and over 9. One more. Up and over for 10. Up and over for 10. Awesome. Now for some of you, it might have taken a few reps for that quad to start to activate. It might have happened for you right away. Your leg might have been shaking as you were going up and over. You might have been smacking your block. That's okay. This is why we're doing all of these movements today, so you get stronger at each one of them. Let's go ahead and try the other side. So I'm going to set my right foot up. Okay, just kind of relax out to the side. I'm going to set my block up. Toes can be pointed or flexed, doesn't really matter. I'm going to hold my block, squeezing that block. Now I want to hollow my body. Okay, now as I hollow that body, here my left leg goes. Up and over. Up and over. 1. Up and over. Up and over. 2. Up and over. Up and over. 3. Up and over. Up and over. 4. Up and over. Up and over. 5, keep that hollow. Up and over. Up and over. 6, notice how my torso is not going anywhere. Up and over, just that leg. Up and over. And up and over. Up and over. 2 more. Up and over. And up. Last one. Whoo, there goes the quad. Up and over. And up and over. Good. All right, relax. Beautiful. All right, so we're going to try another set of that. But for those of you who felt, add on to this. So we're going to have the leg that was on the floor. We're going to have that out straight instead. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take both legs out straight. Okay, now if you found, again, that really, really difficult, you're going to keep the foot on the floor. Otherwise, you're going to extend both legs out straight. Okay, and I'll just kind of show you from the front. I'm going to bring my legs kind of almost like a straddle position. Okay, this is a little bit tougher. If you want to do the first version, you're going to keep that left foot on the floor. Otherwise, your legs are out and your block is going to be in between your legs, but more over towards the right. Okay, now I'm going to hold that block the same way. I'm going to hollow through my body. Now this is going to be harder because you're going to want to use that left leg for support, but now you're just doing the right. So as I hollow, here I go, right leg, up and over, and up. Good. For 2, and 2. Try to lift it high. 3, from the hip crease. 3. Good. Really push your butt into the floor. 4. Use the sides of your waist, especially the left one. 4. That's preventing you from leaning. So keep going. 5. Really scrunch that left side of the waist. 5. Good. Hollow through the low abdomen for 6. And 6. Good. And 7, you can see how the body wants to lean. 7. Good. Hold the sides of the waist tense. 8. 8. 9. 9. And 10. And 10. Good. Okay. Now, if you have the leg extended, you can see how the body wants to lean. So you got to really use those obliques, the sides of the waist to keep you tense. You got to really push your butt into the floor. Now, let's try the other side. So I'm going to take that block over towards the left now. Okay. This is what you want to get really strong at if you're working towards the L-sit. So I'm going to go ahead, do the same action. I'm going to scrunch in through the right side of my waist. I'm going to hollow my abdomen. I'm going to squeeze my block. Here I go. Up and over. And 1. And 2. And 2. Good. And 3. And 3. And 4. Good. Keep going. And 4. I'm just going to go from the side. And 5. And 5. And 6. And 6. And 7, see how my torso isn't moving, and 7, and 8, and 8, 2 more, and 9, and 9, and 10, and 10. Awesome, beautiful. All right, good. Go ahead and relax that, shake that out. Okay, now we're going to intensify that one further. So now I'm going to take my legs and extend them out in front of me. So if you're confused as what the L-sit is, it's basically this position, but you're lifting yourself up off the floor. So your body is hollow, your legs are straight out in front of you. So we're going to train that L-sit position now, but we're going to do one leg at a time. So what you're going to do is you're going to make what I call spider fingers. You're going to put the tips of your fingers next to, let's say, mid-thigh. Okay, and you want to create that hollow position. Now, that doesn't mean you're slouching. It means that you are moving the shoulder blades away from the spine. You're hollowing through your rib cage, and you're keeping just those spider fingers on the floor. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to do some leg lifts just with the right leg. Now, the torso does not change, so I'm not going to lean back as I lift that leg. I'm going to maintain that hollow position as I do these little leg lifts with the right. I'm going to really use those low abdominals and those hip crease muscles to lift the leg. All right, we're going to try 10 each side. So if I'm keeping my fingertips light, the majority of my weight is going to be in my upper body. Don't worry if you feel like you're pushing your fingertips down. The stronger you get in your upper body and your rib cage, the less work your fingertips will do. So let's try 10 of these on the right leg. So I'm going to hollow through the belly, and I'm going to go ahead and take that right leg, and I'm going to lift for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Don't lose the hollow position. Go right to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fingertips should be light. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Great. Okay. If that was challenging, you're going to stay there. If you want more of a challenge, you're going to crawl your fingertips more down towards, let's say, right below your knee. And I want to maintain that hollow position. So I'm hollowing through the belly. All right. Right leg. Here I go. 1, 10. Whew. Left leg. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. That still wasn't super challenging. Let's crawl a little further. The closer we get to the feet, the more we really have to use those deep abdominal muscles. All right, so we're going to try same thing. So I'm going to hollow through my body, create that thickness through my upper back. Here I go with the right leg. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Stay there. Left side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Beautiful. Relax. All right, now you can see how much work you have to create in those low abdominals in order to lift the leg. All right, we're going to do this one more time, but we're going to do something called an isometric hold, which means that instead of doing reps with the leg, instead we're going to hold the leg up there for a count of 10. And that's going to make your quad shake a little bit. You might feel a little bit of tension through the hip crease, but really try to find the lowest part of the size of your waist as well as your low belly. All right, so let's do the same thing. So now I'm going to start mid thigh again with my spider fingers. I'm going to create that hollowness through my body. Fingertips are light. Now, as I round through the belly, I'm going to take my right leg and lift for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Drop down. Keep the hollow. Left side. 1, 2, 3. Tense the belly. 4, 5. Don't lean back. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You're either going to stay there or you're going to crawl down. Same exercise. Hollow. Right leg lift. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. Think about the pressure in your low abdominals. That's what's happening in an L sit. Left leg. Here I go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Follow. Right leg. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. Left leg. Hollow. Up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Whew. Awesome. Not challenging. The L sit today might not completely work, but that's okay. Keep working on that and the L sit will come. All right, so we're going to go into a little flow. Grab both of your blocks. Okay, so you're going to take your blocks and you're just going to set them just tallest height, just kind of like, let's say more so towards the top of the mat. So they're kind of out of the way. All right, now we're going to come into a plank position. So we've been talking about hand placement if you've been doing this class with me. We don't want to have the elbows or the arms too narrow. We want to think elbows under shoulders. We want to take those wrists and turn them out a little bit so that our shoulders are in a really good position. So I'm going to go ahead and set my hands up. Okay, now before I set my legs back into plank, I want to think about turning my inner biceps to face forward. I want to push the shoulder blades to the ceiling, and then I'm going to go ahead and step back into my plank. So I'm up on the tips of the toes. I want to really push the shoulder blades to the sky. I want to scoop my butt underneath me so I have that hollow position. Now, all I want you to do is take your right toes and lift them. Now, keeping your ankle flexed, pull that right knee towards your chest as far as you can, maintaining tension in your low abs. And then send that leg back, tap the toes. Again, lift, pull it in, extend back. Lift, pull it in, extend back. Good. Lift, pull it in, extend back. Use the low belly. Lift, pull it in, extend back. Lift, pull it in, extend back. Lift, in, back, lift, in, back, lift, in, back, lift, in, back, drop the knees. Good. Take your right foot, step it forward. All right, so you want to have your right foot more so towards the right thumb. Go ahead and grab your blocks, take them to the tallest height. Put the wrists under the shoulders, back knees under the hips. I'm going to take that right leg and I'm going to swing it through into a hamstring stretch. Now, really important in an L sit. Now I want to think about sitting my hips back as I pull my chest straight forward. No round. Now, if you're feeling any pain in the back of the knee or the base of the bum, this is your hamstring trying to tell you that it's not happy with this position. So don't be afraid to put a little bend in the knee until that sensation goes away. And then maybe I'm going to point my toes from there and see how that changes the sensation in the hamstring. So I'm going to sit the hips back as I pull my chest forward. I'm going to hold for 2 breaths. Good. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to reflex that foot. I'm going to make fists and put them up on my blocks. So with those fists, I want to think about hugging my elbows in, and I want to create that same hollow position. So I'm going to round through my upper back. I'm going to hollow my belly, just like we've been working on. I'm going to push my fist down, and I'm going to see if I can lift that leg up for a count of 5. Full right side of your abdominals. Here I go again. Hollow through my belly, round through my shoulder blades, lift that leg for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop down. One more here. Hollow, flex, lift for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop it down. Step that foot back so the knee is on top of the ankle. Take the blocks out in front of you. All right, now we're going to step right back into that plank pose. So you can do this one of 2 ways. You can step back from here where you're lifting your back leg up and you're sweeping through, or you can step back into hands and knees and then step back into plank the way we did. So I'm going to go ahead and set my hands up. I'm going to push the shoulder blades to the ceiling, scoop the butt underneath me. No dropping through the belly. Hold that up. I'm going to do the same thing left side, neck long. I'm going to lift the left toes, flex the foot, pull the knee in and back. Lift, in, and back. Lift, in, and back, up, in, back, up, in, back, up, in, back, up, in, back, 3 more, up, in, back, 2 more, up, in, and back, last one, up, in, and back. Push the shoulder blades, step the knees down, take the left foot, step forward, go ahead and grab your blocks, curling the back toes under, put the wrists under the shoulders, back knee under back hip, take that left leg, swing it through into a split. Relax my fingertips or hand on the block. I want to think about sitting back in my hips as I pull my chest straight forward, finding the belly or the meat of the muscle. Again, if you're feeling any pain in the back of the knee or the base of the bum, don't be afraid to put a little bend in that knee. Okay, same rules apply though. We're sitting back in the hips as I pull the chest straight forward. We're going to take a few breaths here with the ankle flexed. Yeah, hamstrings need to be mobile for an L-sit. All right, let's go ahead and see if we can just relax those toes, and that's just going to change the sensation in the hamstring. So I'm going to sit back in the hips as I pull the chest straight ahead as I relax through my toes. Awesome. Okay, now we're going to try those little lifts. So I'm going to make fists. Go ahead and put them on my blocks. I'm going to reflex the foot. I'm going to hug my elbows into the sides. I'm going to hollow through my body. I'm going to see if I can take that leg and lift for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Step down again. I want to think that I'm lifting from the left side of my abdominals. So round, lift, hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop down. One more here. Round, lift, hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Set down. Put the knee over the ankle as you step the foot back, and then go ahead and relax from here. Nice work. Okay. Last little prep exercise. And then we're going to go right into some L-sit drills, breaking it into small components. So this last little section, we're going to be talking more about the shoulder blades. So this is going to feel a lot like an abdominal exercise, but it's actually going to be more so for the shoulder blades. So I'm going to go ahead and grab one of my blocks. Okay, I'm going to set it up horizontally to me. And I'm going to go ahead and just take that block and squeeze it in between my forearms. Okay, so I've got that block in between the forearms. My shoulders are going to be over my elbow, your knees a little bit further back of your hips so that your shoulders and your hips are in one line. Now let's talk about what the shoulder blades are doing first. So I want to squeeze the block, but I want to pull my shoulder blades down. So as I pull my shoulder blades down, I pull my chest forward, and then I push the shoulder blades to the sky. And if you're doing this with tension, it might feel like your upper body is starting to shake. That's what's happening in an L-sit. So I want you to hold here. Scoop the butt underneath you so your low abdominals are working. Keep the knees on the floor for this first little bit. I want you to feel the shoulder blades. Now keep doing this. Squeeze the block. Pull the chest forward as you drag the shoulder blades down. Push them to the ceiling, and you're going to hold here for a slow count of 10. It should feel like a lot of work. If you're working to squeeze the block, pull the chest forward, drag the shoulder blades down, hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. Okay, good. So we're working to pull the shoulder blades down as we hollow through that upper back. That's what's happening in L-sit. So now we're going to try with our legs extended and straight. So I'm going to set up myself the same way. Squeeze the block. This time I'm going to step straight back into a forearm plank. Okay, butt's not going to be high in the air. I'm going to pull my chest forward, scoot the butt underneath me. Now, as I squeeze my forearms into the block, I pull my shoulder blades down, but I push them to the ceiling. Back of the neck long, scoop and hold here. Keep pushing the shoulder blades to the ceiling, up, 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 up. Scoop the butt underneath you so you feel your low abs. Really work to pull that chest forward. Let's hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lower. Great. Okay, now we got one more of this. This time we're going to change the way that we're holding the block. Now we're actually going to hold the block with our hands. And I'll actually let you kind of grip your fingers over the top. So we're going to hold that. Now we're actually going to add some effort here with our legs. So I'm going to show you the first one and then we'll do it together. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the sides of my block. Shoulders are still going to be over my elbows. I don't want those elbows to flare out to the side. Now, as I step back into my forearm plank, I'm going to pull my chest forward, create that same action. Shoulder blades down the back, push your shoulder blades to the ceiling. Back and neck long. Now, without letting your butt rise, all we're going to do is to lower the knees to the floor for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lift. Okay, we're going to do a couple of those. We're going to do about 5 of those. Lowering the knees for the count of 5, lifting for 1. But the entire time, you're working on pulling those shoulder blades down as you push the shoulder blades to the ceiling. All right, last little piece here, and then we're going to go right into our L-sit drills. So I'm going to grab the block the same way I had you. You're curling the fingertips over. You're hugging your elbows in, shoulders over elbows. Go ahead, step back, forearm plank. Pull my chest straight through. Shoulder blades down, but to the ceiling, back the neck long. Scoop the butt underneath you. Here we go with the knees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Explode up for 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Up, 2. Push your shoulder blades. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Up, 3. 2 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Up, 4. Last one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Up, 5. Hold. Good. Take a break. We're going to do one more set. And L-sit drills. So as you're doing this, you're holding the tension in your low abdominals as your knees are coming to the floor. And then as you lift, you're maintaining that scooping of the bum, pushing the shoulder blades to the sky. One more set. Grab the block the same way. Elbows under shoulders. Shoulders over elbows. Step back. Pull my chest straight forward. Drag my shoulder blades down, but push them to the ceiling. Back the neck long, butt scooping. Ready. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Up. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Up. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Up. 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Up. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Up. 5. Good. Relax. All right, everybody, let's get going into our L-sit drills. Again, the intention behind this class is to not get to the L-sit. It's about building all of these small components, building strength in all of the movements we did today, so that today, one day, the L-sit will hopefully become accessible. But you'll be able to do at least some of these drills today. So we're going to work on them. So first thing you're going to do is both of your blocks. So you're going to go ahead and extend your legs out in front of you. Now, first thing is that we're going to talk about arm length, because everyone's arm length is going to be different. So you can see that when I put my hands on the floor, my arms are completely straight. That's because my arms are short. So we want to actually have a little bit of a bend in the elbow. So when we push ourselves up, we can straighten the arms. Now, very advanced is a very small bend. So since a lot of us are just new to this, what I encourage you to have is a bigger bend. So if your arms are quite long, you may be okay with the lowest height on the block. For me, definitely not. I'm going to take the blocks to the second tallest height. So as you can see, I have a bigger bend. So let's talk about position. When we did these leg lifts, that's the same position we're going to be in. Legs out in front of us, glued together, toes preferably pointed, a little bit of a lean forward in the hip crease, but a hollow belly position. So not from my low back, I'm not scooping the butt underneath me, I'm thinking about hollowing through my rib cage and moving my shoulder blades away from the spine. That's where you're going to stay in your upper body. Now let's talk about hand placement. If my wrists are in the wrong position and my elbows are pointing out to the sides, I'm in a vulnerable position in my shoulders. I'm not going to be able to create as much tension through my upper back. So think plank. I'm going to turn my hands out so my elbows point straight back. Now as I push myself up, I can maintain that hollow position. Cool? All right, so now that we've got those foundation pieces set, let's start with the first component of an L-sit, just lifting the hips up off the floor. So let's start there. So I'm going to go ahead and set my hands up. I'm going to lean forward a little bit. I'm going to hug my elbows in. I'm going to hollow through my belly. Now, creating the same tension we did before, all I want you to do is push down into your blocks and lift your hips up off the floor. Lift. Hold. And then bend and drop down. That's component one. Okay? Hopefully you got that. Let's try that one more time. Hug the elbows in, hollow through the body, round through my shoulder blades. I'm going to push down and lift up. Bend and lower. Okay, that's component one. All right. If that was easy for you, you're going to move on to component two. If that was super, super hard, you're going to keep practicing component one. All right, component two is going to be lifting our hips and then shifting our hips back. So the heels are going to stay on the floor, but we're kind of like sliding the bum a little bit back. Okay, so let's try that again. Hand placement, hollow belly. First component, lift the hips. Now I'm going to shift back. Shift forward, drop down. That's component two. Okay, let's try that again. If that didn't work, you're going to keep practicing component one. All right, here I go. Again, I'm going to push down, lift, shift back, hold, hollow through my belly, shift forward, relax. Okay, now maybe you got those two components. Now we're going to go into component three. So remember these little leg lifts we did before? Now they're going to come in handy because now with component three, we're going to lift our hips, we're going to shift them back, we're going to lift the right leg. We're going to hold there. Okay, if that doesn't work, you'll stay with either component one, lifting the hips, adding on component two, shifting back. Cool. All right, so here we go. Right leg. All right, so I'm going to set myself up. Hand placement, elbows point back, hollow through my belly. If you're trying to lift an L-sit from here, it's not going to happen. Hollow. Here I go. So component one, lift. Component two, shift back. Component three, right leg up. Hold, 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 hold. Drop down, shift forward, boom. There's component three. Component four, obviously, we're going to lift the left leg. All right. Here we go. Hollow, lift, shift back, left leg. Hollow, push your shoulder blades to the sky, drop, shift forward, drop down. Now think about that forearm plank that we did, okay? We're pulling the shoulder blades down. What we're doing here to lift ourselves up into the L-sit is we're actually pushing up, but hollowing. So we want to think about pushing down into the blocks as we lift our chest up and hollow. Okay, let's try that component one more time, and then we'll experiment seeing if we can lift both legs. But again, both legs today may not happen, but you can definitely practice these drills, and hopefully one day it will come. But we need the hamstrings to be lengthened, we need the hips to be strong, we need the abdominals to be strong, we need the shoulder blades to be stable. So definitely keep repeating this class. All right, here we are. So we're going to try lifting our right leg. So I'm going to start. I know I can't see you guys, but I'm sure you're doing awesome. All right, hug the elbows in. So let's get the hips lifted. So I'm going to push down, lift up, shift back, right leg up. Right leg down, shift forward, drop. Not so scary when you break it up this way. All right, let's try left leg, and then we'll see if we can do both legs. All right, here we go. Hug the elbows in, hollow, push down, lift up, shift back, left leg. Drop down, shift forward, and drop. Okay, now that felt super challenging. You're going to stay there. Now let's see if we can try lifting both legs. All right. Now you may lift them and you might drop right down on your bum. You might fall backwards. It's okay. It's part of learning a skill. Fall, it may not happen today. It may not happen for years. It took me a really long time to get this L-sit, but let's try it. Now when you lift both legs, same rules apply. We're going to lift. We're going to shift back. Now you've got to really use your low abdominals and your hip creases to pull both legs up. Let's try it, guys. All right. Set the hands. Okay. Component 1 and 2 are the same. So I'm going to push down. I'm going to shift back. And I'm going to use the low belly. I'm going to try to lift my legs. And hold, 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 hold. Drop and drop. Now maybe that happened. Maybe it did. Let's try one more time. If lifting both legs didn't happen, I definitely encourage you to go back to component 1, 2, 3, and 4. Lifting the hips, shifting back, lifting one leg. Then do it again. Lift the hips, shift back, lift the other leg. All right, let's try again. All right. Practice makes progress. Here we go. Position. If my position's set, I'm more likely to get it. So I'm going to lift, shift back, both legs up, hold, 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 and bend and drop. One more. One more, and then simple cool down, and you guys are done. All right. L-sits can be fun, but they take time to build. One more time. Set my hands, hollow through my belly. Here I go. Component 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5. Hold, 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 and drop. All right, everybody. Go ahead and give your wrists a little bit of shake. Nice work, everybody. All right, we're going to do a quick little cool down, and then you guys are all done. Really good. If you got that L-sit or it felt like you got those components, feel free to comment on the side. I'd love to know how you guys did with that. All right, let's do a little cool down, and you guys are done. So we're just going to stretch out those hip flexors a little bit. We tense them up quite a bit. We're just going to come to a lizard position. So have both of your blocks available because you might need them. So let's go ahead and take the right foot. Let's step it towards the outside of the right mat. The toes can point out. They can face forward. They can turn out a little bit. It doesn't really matter. And I'm going to go ahead. I'm just going to shift my back knee back to whatever feels comfortable. I'm going to curl my toes or I'm going to uncurl them. And I'm either going to place my hand right on the floor, but if my spine is overly rounded or I feel like I'm towards the leg, I might have to put my hands up on blocks just so I can allow my chest to pull forward. Okay. And then main priorities here is I want you to think about sinking through the left hip crease, trying not to lean too far over to the left, hugging the right inner thigh in. And now I just want you to find a nice, smooth breath. Pulling that chest straight forward through the shoulders. Inhale through the nose. And exhale through the nose. One more. Good. Go ahead and curl the toes back under. Shift straight back. Take that right leg back to meet the left. Let's try the other side. Left foot, I'm going to step. Whatever direction my foot goes is fine. I'm going to shift my back knee back as far as what feels comfortable. I'm going to uncurl, but you guys can curl. Hands on the inside of the foot, pulling the chest forward. But if you feel like you're overly rounded or it's hard time to pull your chest forward, put your hands up on blocks. And I'm just going to pull straight through as I soften through my breath, soften through the back of my neck. Try not to strain or push here. Like Bilal and I always say, if your breath is really choppy, especially in a position that's a quote unquote stretch or release, you're pushing too far. So maybe that means you have to pull your back knee in a little bit more. Okay? Just let that chest pull forward. 2 more breaths here. 1 more. Good. I'm going to go ahead and curl my back toes under. I'm going to shift back. Now I'm going to take my left leg back to meet my right. Now how I'm going to sit is I'm going to sit my hips on my heels. If this is not a comfortable position for you, you can go ahead and come to a cross-legged seat, or you can go ahead and sit up on a block. Now we did a lot of hollow work today. So I want to take the spine in the opposite direction. I want to go into an arched or an extended position. Okay. So we're just going to work that arch position, but we're going to have our hands clasped behind the back of our head, encouraging our elbows to stay open. Now to create that arch, I want to think that I'm creating a nice swoop from my low back all the way to the backs of my shoulders. So as I open my elbows, I'm going to arch up and over through that upper body. So my chest is kind of pointing up to the ceiling. Throat remains open. Now I just want to pull my elbows back and try to feel my shoulder blades squeeze. Then I want to go ahead and let my rib cage drop back down towards my belly button, so I'm back to neutral. Okay, let's do a few of these. Let's add our breathing. Inhale, arch up and over. Pull those elbows back. Exhale, ribs down. Inhale, arch up and over. Elbows open. Exhale, ribs down. 2 more here. Inhale, arch. Elbows open. Exhale, ribs down. 1 more here. Inhale. Elbows open. Exhale, ribs down. Beautiful. Last place we're going to finish. Go ahead and come back to a seat, sitting up on something if that feels okay for you. So I just want to do a breathing exercise really quick, maybe about 20, 30 seconds of it, just to relieve any pressure we created through the muscles in the rib cage and the low belly from doing a lot of our L-sit work. So I'm going to go ahead and come to a cross-legged seat. And I'm going to go ahead and take my hand and wrap them around my rib cage. Your rib cage is quite high. It's above the lowest part of, the smallest part of your waist, right above. Okay. Now, as I inhale, I want to think about filling my rib cage up so my hands actually expand. So I'm going to inhale through the nose, expand the ribs. Now through the mouth, I'm going to let those hands come right back to the starting position. So I want to think of filling up my ribs on the inhale, exhaling through the mouth. Awesome. Let's do about 5 of these breaths. So I'm going to go ahead and inhale, expand. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. 2 more. Inhale. Exhale. Last one here. Inhale. Exhale. Awesome. All right, everybody. There you go. So there is your L-sit prep class. So in order to achieve, especially an advanced movement like an L-sit, we need to be able to master all of those small components first. Get really good at each component that we did, and then start to build upon them. The L-sit takes time, so don't worry if it didn't happen today. Don't feel discouraged. Work on the components that you felt that you were strong in. Get really good at those. Thank you guys so much for joining in today. Any questions, again, feel free to reach out to me at jen@freerunninc.com. Otherwise, I hope you have a fantastic Wednesday. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Take good care.